Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shrutika, and today we're going to be talking from my living room. This apartment is just my last few days here, but I am so attached to this apartment, but it's basically packed up in boxes because I am moving this weekend. I'm traveling around a bit, but then finally coming to India. And because my house is packed up in boxes, I was struggling to find a spot in the house where it's like good light, no boxes, no mess, no dust, and I can sit and talk. But I think I have finally found the spot for it. But anyways, today on the topic of packing and moving and boxes and all of that, I thought of talking about a topic that is something that I've actually done repeatedly in my life a few different times, which is why now I feel comfortable making these decisions of packing up and moving my life to another country or to another city. And that's why today I think we're going to be talking about how to cope with transitions in your life. Because obviously I feel like transitions is a very natural part of life. When we're younger, we are in school and then we transition into college and university. Then we transition into a job, we transition between countries, between cities, people who went overseas for their bachelor's or their master's and stuff like that. So transition is probably the only consistency in everyone's life. Something is always changing. Change is the only constant, right? But how do you deal with that and how do you cope with that? And especially when it comes to like shifting countries or shifting cities. And if you're someone who's either contemplating whether you should move overseas for your education, or if you're thinking about starting a new job, or if you're thinking about moving to a different city to switch it up, what are the tools that you need to help you make that transition in your life? So today's topic is how to cope with transition in life. And when I say that I've done it a few times, when I was born in the UK. So when I was 6 years old, we moved from England to India. And then when I was in India, about 6 years old, I repeated the first grade. I vaguely remember, I don't have a very strong memory of that time because I was obviously 6 years old. But I vaguely remember struggling to pick up the language and being made fun of for coming from the UK or something like that when I was in the first grade. So my pushback was to become extremely academically competitive and into sports and into cultural events and all of that. So I remember I pushed myself into all of these different things and became extremely competitive at school, at anything that you threw at me. And then I transitioned from a sort of newer, smaller school into a very big, competitive, academically competitive, sports, make cultural events and art, and in everything it's an excellent school. And I remember sitting the entrance exam because entrance was on merit. मैं सेकेंड स्टैंडर्ड में एंट्रेंस एग्जाम बैठी थी और मैं फेल हो गई थी, तो मैंने वापस पढ़ाई की, दोस्तों से पूछकर बुक्स लिए, and then my mom prepared me for 4th grade again. I attempted to enter that school. And then again, that transition was like, again, I threw myself into the academics. I became very competitive, very ambitious, very hardworking. That was the gist. So I threw myself into that when I moved into a bigger school. But then when I was 15, my mom and us as a family, we made the decision to migrate to Australia. And I have a lot of my mom's side of the family here. So it was something that we were very excited about. It just made sense. And because I have grown up with a lot of my cousins that have been born and raised here, the accent and the lifestyle, I used to come here for my summers. I knew how to pick up if I ever really did move to Australia. So when I was 15, we migrated here as a family. And I think that was a huge shift for me, coming from India to Australia. Because obviously born in the UK and moved when I was 6 years old was like, I don't even remember that time. But migrating to Australia was probably a time where I struggled in hindsight. I put on a lot of weight. I did pick up on the accent and all of that, but I think I was a different person altogether. Again, the transition within that was that I went to 3 different schools in 3 different cities in years 10, 11 and 12. So the 10th grade I did in Sydney. 11th grade I did regionally 4 hours outside of Sydney in a town called Port Macquarie. And then the 12th grade I did in Perth because we were moving around for my mom's visa and all of that stuff. So that's a different story altogether. But yeah, I moved every year. I moved to a different house every year. I made friends again every year. And then again, I moved to Adelaide for university. And then I moved to Melbourne for a job. So within Australia also, I've moved around pretty much every year, except for then 3 years of the bachelor's I stayed in Adelaide. Melbourne, of course, I've spent almost 2 years here now. But I made a lot of those transitions from city to city as soon as we came to Australia. Within every year we were moving. And so of course I picked up the accent and I picked up the lifestyle. And like I said, I ended up putting on a lot of weight. And I think that weight kind of changed me as a person because I felt like I couldn't be as confident or outgoing or as ambitious as I was before because I became very in my shell. So people around me treated me very differently. Suddenly from India, I was in the Senate, I was vice captain, and I wanted to be captain, and from going from all of that to in a new country, trying to pull off a new accent, and with all this weight gain, I was looking different. I felt like a completely different person. Because bachpan se in the group, I was the one who wanted to become a Bollywood actress and do modeling and doing pageants and all of that was the dream. And then suddenly I become this chubby kid in the 11th grade who's moved so much and who's moving again. And the way you get treated is very differently when that happens. But I obviously think that the confidence to cope with transitions in life comes from having repeated it so many times. Every year we moved, every year we made a transition, I made new friends and I was in a new city, and then you become comfortable with that city. So it was by the nature of the circumstance of what my family had to achieve with the visa and being able to live here long term that I ended up making so many transitions in my life. It wasn't a personal choice, which is why now I feel like I've gotten better at it. So the confidence to cope with it comes from repetition. So that's not something that I can comment on. I didn't go out of my way to make that transition. But then when I did move away from home for my bachelor's, when I moved away from Adelaide again to start a new job and a new life in Melbourne, those were decisions I was able to make on my own. Because by then, I think what had happened is I became extremely self-sufficient. When you move so many times, you can't be emotionally dependent on a certain social group. So when you move so many times, you're used to starting from scratch and you're used to becoming sort of emotionally independent. And then when I moved to Melbourne, of course, I became financially independent because I started earning my own money. And because I moved away from home when I was 18, I was already cooking for myself, cleaning the house, doing my own laundry, driving myself places, got my license. So the overall concept is of self-sufficiency, independence. Yes, independent, you're free. But when you're free, what do? You need to be self-sufficient. Just having the freedom doesn't mean anything because a lot of people can go a lot of different ways with having that kind of independence and that freedom. But I think the concept that helps you excel at the transition is, yes, I've done it so many times and that's why it helps me. But the key behind doing it well is self-sufficiency. आज I feel मैं emotionally independent हूँ, इसलिए I can live on my own and I can take care of myself. And it hurts obviously to be away from family, to be away from loved ones. My best friend is in India. I have another best friend in Adelaide. Of course, but you're emotionally independent in the sense that I'm okay with living on my own. I'm okay with being by myself. I can cook for myself. I can clean for myself. I can do my own laundry. I can take myself from point A to point B. I can get a new job. I know how to go out and put myself out there and get a new job. So I feel like the concept of self-sufficiency, different to independence, self-sufficiency is extremely important in being able to confidently make a decision to make a transition in your life. Whether that be from one job to another job, whether that be from city to city, country to country, having the confidence of saying, wherever you put me in the world, or whichever company you put me in, or whichever social group you put me in, I know that I can take care of myself. When I'm coming to you, even in a friendship, in a relationship, in a work dynamic, or in a new city, any transition you make in life, when you come to that transition, when you meet the new place or the new person that you're approaching, if you come from a place of being self-sufficient, everything that I have is in here, so whatever I'm doing here is because I want to do it and I can do it. It's not because I need to do it. When you're self-sufficient, automatically things start happening because you want them, not because you need them. So that is why I feel the art of self-sufficiency is Now that I think about it, through and through, even when we moved to Australia, my mom, she's a single parent and 2 kids, me and my brother. What made it easier for me at that point, probably not easier, but what I think I have learned is, even when mom used to go to work, I was making school ka dabba and making sure my brother is, I've done all, making sure my brother is going to school. So I've done all of these things in a way that because I can be self-sufficient, I can cater to my relationships in a way that is a two-way street, rather than I need these people in my life, I need that house, I need that car. ये apartment से भी I became attached, but इसके बिना मैं जी सकती हूँ, because I know that मैं कहीं पर भी जाऊँ life में, I'll find new connections, I'll find new bonds, I'll find new people, I'll find new work. And just the concept of wherever you put me in the world, I'll survive and I'll thrive. I'll not just be alive, but I will create a life for myself that I deserve, that I want, and that I'm happy with. So I feel if you are someone who's at a point in your life where you're thinking about making a transition from job to job, or from India to overseas, or from overseas to India, or from overseas to overseas, wherever you're going in life, I feel the art of self-sufficiency is what is going to help you. Knowing that you can take care of yourself, and giving your family that kind of confidence also. When I decided to quit my job and I said, Mama, I've signed with an agency and there might be some work in Bombay, or I want to go to India, she was like, I trust that you'll be okay. She has that confidence in me now. If Shrutika goes, she'll be okay. To give that kind of confidence to the people around you is also extremely important. Once you do it, the people around you also feel okay to let you go. Because I have a lot of friends who are living with family and then they're like, I want to go, but my mom's a little hesitant. I was like, show her that you can take care of yourself. Show her that you can have your own meal prep and you will go to the gym and you're going to make your own friends and you've got your own life. Show her that you can take care of yourself, and then they will show that confidence in you as well. There are a few things to this that I can probably just quickly summarize. Is to cope with the transition in your life. Yes, doing it is the first step. Actually making that transition. Sometimes you're not equipped, but you need to do it to learn. But the art of self-sufficiency is what is going to help you float. Whether you become self-sufficient before making the move or after making the move is your decision. But that is what is going to help you float. That is what is going to help you thrive in the long run. And it's not to say that you do not need people around you, or you don't need anybody around you and you can live on your own wherever. We all want people. I think that is the beauty of life, is the people you meet and the different conversations you have. That is the beauty of life. But those relationships in life will be far more beautiful if you go to it with a full heart already. I have everything I need within me. So I'm here not because I need you. I'm here because I want this relationship, or I want this friendship, or I want this job. That is a much more beautiful way of looking at life, of looking at relationships, at looking at connections, or at looking at any decision that you're trying to make in your life. Is I want you, I don't need you. It's because I have everything I need inside of me. So I'm probably going to leave you at that thought. I know that's a lot, but I really hope that that thought of self-sufficiency helps you make any decision that you're trying to make. I know it's the point of difference that I had, which allowed me to make this decision of leaving Melbourne to go to Mumbai for a few months, weeks. I don't know what it's going to be. But I know that having that kind of confidence in me that I can survive wherever I go is what has allowed me to take such a big step in my life and make such a big decision. So I hope this video was helpful. Tell me in the comments of something that you're doing, a transition in your life, or a point in time where you made a transition, what helped you. Let's talk about transition in the comments. Also suggest what you want to hear from me about next. I love doing these videos. It's honestly as raw and authentic as it gets from me. I thought about what I wanted to say, and then it also forced me to think about what exactly helped me float. And then I just love coming on here and sharing it with you. So if you have any suggestions on something else that you want to know about me, tell me in the comment section so I can make my next video on it. Until then, go like, share, subscribe to my channel if you want more of this. And I will see you next time. But don't stop chasing your dreams. Believe in yourself. Everything you need is in here and in here. So you've got this. But until next time, bye. Take care.